What's up guys, Coyote Works here. Well, heading out on another couple of day adventure, and it's been a hell of a drive up here. It's thawing. It's this weird warm weather thaw in the middle of winter, and so the problem I'm running into today is just a lot of mud and really sloppy roads. I'm pretty excited about this trip. I got a new shotgun that I picked up from Todd Stone at Prepper Up in Primeville, Oregon. I'm going to try it out a little bit. I've got some good food to cook, and I'm just going to enjoy camping and this little window of nice warm weather we have here in the middle of winter. Well, I finally got myself worked back up in here to this camp spot that I've used before, and the reason I chose this spot is because it is a muddy disaster out here, and I knew there was a little bit of wood here already. I can't believe how warm it is. It's warmed up to about 51 degrees and everything is thawing and the ground's getting really soft. So hopefully I'll be able to get out of here tomorrow, because it was a little sketchy coming in, and if it keeps thawing it's just going to get soupier and soupier. So I need to get my rooftop tent set up and my camp set up, but the first thing I'm going to do is have a little lunch. Alright, I got my chair set up behind me, but I wanted to show you guys real quick what I do. So all of the wood is really damp. So I've staged some wood here to start my fire with, some small pieces here to start, and then a little bit bigger pieces here. Just by putting it up on these stumps and letting the air circulate through it, it'll actually dry out a bit while I'm sitting here having some lunch and stuff. Alright, for lunch I'm having some smoked salmon. My mom actually got this for me for Christmas, and it's really delicious. Some of the best smoked salmon I've ever had. A few ranch flavored wheat thins, some smoked cheese, and some smoked meats. So this will be a good high fat, some carbs, but mostly high fat, high protein lunch that'll keep me fueled up for the rest of the afternoon. And after I finish my lunch, I'm going to prepare my dinner for this evening. So I normally don't do a lot of cooking out here, but I've had a couple of guys ask me if I ever cook anything besides Mountain House meals, and I do. And tonight I've got a little bit of a special meal planned. Alright, I got a little lunch in me. My wood's been sitting here drying out for a little while. So now I'm going to get a fire going, because I'm going to do the first couple of steps of prepping my dinner for tonight. And I need a little bit of flame so I can heat up my pan. Alright, I'm going to need a pot for my dinner tonight. I'm going to make kind of a stew of sorts. And since I'm by myself, I don't need a huge pot. So I just recently got this Primus stainless steel pot. In fact, I haven't even used it yet, and this is what I'm going to make my delicious, scrumptious stew for the night in. Okay, so these are the vegetable ingredients of my stew. I got a clove of garlic, I've got a whole sweet onion, a whole potato, a whole carrot, and a nice sprig of cilantro. And then I've got some real sea salt here, some ground black pepper, coarse ground, and then some garlic powder. So I'm going to process these things up and get them all ready to go in the pot, and then I'm also going to have to do some work to the meat. Now I just like to smash the garlic cloves up a little bit, and I just use the side of my knife. And the cilantro, all I'm going to do is just break off the very roughest part of the stems, and then I'm just going to break the whole sprig of cilantro so that I have a neat little pile. I don't like to chop it up fine, I just leave it in nice and big pieces. So that takes care of my vegetables. I've got my whole onion sliced up, my potato, my carrot, my cilantro, and my crushed garlic. Now I'm going to work on the meat. So for the meat today, I'm using some goat chops. And what I'm going to do is I want to brown the goat first. So I'm just going to put a little bit of sea salt on it, and then I'll put some butter in the pan, and then I'll brown up the goat a little bit. Now I'm going to drop about a half a cube of butter in the pan, and then I'll brown up the meat. Alright, I got the meat lightly browned, so now I'm going to toss my other ingredients in. Now I'm going to season it a little bit, so I'm going to put a little bit of sea salt, And we'll do some onion powder or some garlic powder. We can do a good amount of this. Then we'll do some black pepper for a bit of heat. I like to measure in my hand. We'll stir this up just a bit. I'm going to wait to put my cilantro in until a little bit later. I'm going to let this all cook down a little bit because it will cook down in there. The only last thing I have to add is some liquid. There we go. Fill it just up to the edge of the vegetables. Alright, now we'll hang this back on the fire. And I'm going to put it a little low over the heat to get it to boil. And then once it goes to a boil, I'll raise it up, let it simmer, and then I'll go off and set up the rest of my camp while it's cooking down. Alright, I set up my rooftop tent, and now is just kind of a final touch. I'm putting some pine needles down on the ground outside of my doors here where I need to get in and out and get equipment. And this will just keep me from sinking in the mud in this area right here. It's just so sloppy out here, and it doesn't feel like the temperature's dropping tonight, so it's just getting to be a muddier and muddier mess. Let's check this soup. Oh yeah, that's boiling nicely. Alright, well my stew's simmering nicely, so I'm going to go for a little walk this evening, and I got a new shotgun from Prepper Up that I'm going to take out this evening. It's a Fed Arms 20 gauge, but one thing that's really cool about this Condor chest pack is it's got loops in it that I can slide shotgun shells in. So I'm going to take about 5 extra shotgun shells, and I'll take 1 in the gun, and that should give me plenty to go on my evening walk. And just so you guys aren't worried about me being undergunned with only 6 rounds of shotgun shells, I also do have my trusty Sig Legion . Well, I'm just having a nice little walk this evening, but I noticed that I got some dark sky back behind me, and as warm as it is, if that's some weather, it could be rain, and rain's going to make it a little bit of a problem for me getting out of here. Theoretically, if we got much rain and the temperature stayed warm, it might get to a point where I couldn't get back out of here. Just with the ground thawing and the mud, there's a couple places where the road's pretty steep, got some side hills, so I don't know. All right. Well, I had a nice little walk. I just got back to camp, and my 2 big logs are still burning pretty good on the fire, so that's good. I've been gone about an hour and a half, and it's just getting dark, so let's check that soup and see how it's doing. Oh, that looks fantastic. Just simmering nicely. I am a little worried about those clouds coming in though. They're getting thicker, and I'm thinking we could get some rain. Alright guys, I might be in trouble. It just started raining a little bit. There's nothing I can do about it now, but enjoy the evening. I'm about ready to have some of my stew here. I'm getting pretty hungry, and it's getting that time of night, so. Alright, let's see how she is. The flavor is just absolutely amazing. The meat's perfect. It's still holding together, but as soon as you put it in your mouth and bite on it, it just flakes apart. Wow, that came out really good. Really good. Oh yeah, I can cut the meat with my spoon. That rain's coming down now, and it's not getting any colder, so I need one of two things. I need this rain to stop, or I need it to freeze tonight, or I'm going to have a hell of a time getting out of here. So, if I wake up in the morning and it's frozen, I'm just going to have to break camp and leave. Because if it thaws on top of this extra moisture, there's no way I'm getting out of here until it freezes deep again. Well, it's just continuing to rain pretty steady, so I finished eating dinner and I think I'm just gonna crawl up into my rooftop tent and read a little bit or something. I'm just slowly but surely getting wetter and wetter standing out here, and I don't really want to string up a tarp or go through all that effort, so I'm done with most of my evening stuff. So I'm just gonna crawl up in the rooftop tent, and we'll see how the M55 Free Spirit Adventure Series rooftop tent does in the pouring steady rain. Well, I got up in my rooftop tent, and I tell you, I'm really glad to have this bigger size of a rooftop tent, especially for times like this when it's only about 7 o'clock in the evening, but it's just continuing to rain and rain and rain out there. So it's going to be a couple hours before I go to sleep. So this is really nice having this extra room in here. I've got a couple of my Ready Light pods hanging up in here, and they light up the tent. Then I've got my heater, my boots, lots of room. You can see it's plenty wide enough. I've got quite a bit of gear in here. All right, I guess we're really going to get to see how this rooftop tent does out here. This is only my second trip in this M55 Adventure Series from Free Spirit. I don't know if you guys can hear, but now the wind is coming up. The rain's lightened up a little bit, but the wind's coming. And it's hitting the tent pretty hard at times, but so far so good. No water in here, no drips. It's all holding together and nice and comfortable. Good morning, guys. I had a good toasty night's sleep last night. It's dark outside. I can't see if there's any frost on the ground, but I slept really toasty last night. It did rain and the wind blew pretty hard off and on last night, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of a mess it is outside this morning. I just finished up a little Druwurst Rusk, and I'm having some coffee, my usual Starbucks Via. I just make it cold inside a water bottle. I'll probably just finish my coffee and then crawl outside and get a fire going and some breakfast and kind of survey the situation. So it'll be interesting to see what the road conditions are like getting out of here. As luck would have it, I stepped down off the ladder in the morning to some frozen ground. So I made the executive decision to tear my camp down and hit the road while the going was good. I hope you guys enjoyed this view into my short little trip, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Coyote Works, out.